Alrighty, so in this video we are going to graph a polynomial function, and then I'm going to give you the graph of a function, and we are going to write what the function is. So when I see this polynomial function, they are giving it to me in factored form. I can immediately see that we have 1, 2, 3 zeros. We are going to have a 0 when x equals 0. We're going to have a 0 at x equals 3, and we're going to have a 0 at x equals -2. So we have a 0 here, here, and here. Well, what we want to try to figure out is our x to the n. Well, we can see, well, first off, we know what a is. A is -2 because of that 2 in front. But how many x's are there? 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be an x to the third. Normally, x to the third looks like that. But because a is negative, we're not going to go that way. We're going to go like this. We can also figure it out by saying, already, as x approaches -infinity. Goodness, what just happened? Let me get rid of that there. We know as x approaches -infinity, take a negative, cube it, negative, times a negative. We know f of x or y will approach +infinity. So that means from the left, we're going to be the left top. We're going to come through, we're going to cross through -2 cleanly because there's no multiplicity of it. We're going to turn around, we're going to go through the 0, we're going to turn around, boom, and our graph looks like that. And you can see my end behaviors as x gets really small, y gets really big, and as x gets very positive, f of x gets very negative. So all of those are nice checks, and we know this because if we do a negative to the third, that's a positive. And here, let's plug in a positive x, cube it, make it negative. That would be a negative value, which is way down there, a negative f of x. So let's sketch these ones. Well, we can see that we're going to have 2, 5, 6 zeros. So we know x is 0 with a multiplicity of 2. That means at 0, we are going to hit that 0 and bounce right back down. We have an x that equals 4. This x equals 4, and it's an odd multiplicity. That means we're going to have a wiggle at this 4 where we're going to change shape just a little bit. We're not going to go through cleanly when we go through that x-axis, when we go through the x-axis. And we can have x equals -3. So those are my 6 zeros. -3, 0, and 4. Well, where do we start? Well, as we said, we're going to have an f of x equals an x to the 6th situation. It's 2, 5, 6. So when we have a negative and I raise it to the 6th power, that means we're going to get a positive f of x. If we have a positive and I raise it to the 6th power, we're still going to get a positive f of x. Easy enough. So what that means, we're going to start way negative on the x-axis and very positive on the y-axis. So we are going to go through -3 cleanly, just straight through it. We're going to turn, and when we get that 0, at 0, we're just going to bounce right off and come back down. And then when we turn around and go through 4, we are going to do we're going to flatten out just a little bit to change shapes. Now, is this an exact graph? No, of course not. It's just a little sketch to tell us a little bit of what it might look like. What if we do it the other way? What if I give you the graph, I show you the zeros, and we want to find the least possible degree? So that's going to be x to 1 more than the number of zeros. Okay, so if we take a look at this, we have zeros when x is -3 and when x is +2. But you notice at -3 we bounce off the x-axis and we come back around. That means this is a multiplicity of at least 2. It might be higher, but it's at least 2. And it does the same thing at the +2. So that means we have 2 zeros here and 2 zeros here. So that's at least an x to the 4th. So my first factor is going to be x plus 3 squared. My second factor is x minus 2 squared. And it might be more, but we said the at least. Now what we want to do is we want to come up with this value of a. To come up with that value of a, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the point that they give us on our y-axis. So we know y is -36. That's going to be some value of a. Well, when y is -36, x is 0. And we're going to square that. X is again 0. And we're going to square this. So -36 equals a times 9 times 4. So -36 equals 36a. -1 equals a. So now we know what a is, and we can write our function. So a is -1. So we're going to say negative x plus 3 squared, x minus 2 squared. And that is what f of x equals. We can try this one. We can see we have 1, 2, 3 zeros, and it goes through the x-axis nice and clean, so that is not a multiplicity. So we have our x values of -2, x equals 5, and x equals 7. So these in factored form would be x plus 2, x minus 5, x minus 7. And to find a, we're going to plug in this point. F of x is 35. That equals a times x plus 2. So we have the x times x plus 2 times x minus 5. Oh, darn it, they're not x's, they're zeros. My bad. Let's change all of that. Why didn't you stop me? I blame each and every one of you. It couldn't be my fault. No, I couldn't. Alrighty. So we're going to have 35 equals a times 2 times -5 times -7. So 35 equals 70a. Divide both sides by 70, and so a is 1/2. So my function is going to be f of x equals 1/2 of times x plus 2 times x minus 5 times x minus 7. Boom. Easy. All right, so if you have any questions, make sure you jot them down. Come in and ask those questions. Be glad to help everybody with those, and I will see you when I see you.